All right, so week 5 of the 2022-2023 NFL season is in the books. Out of 18 weeks, that makes us, I think I did the math, it was like 27% of the way done with the season, so not quite a third, but almost a third. So what I wanted to do is give my general observations of the season as a whole. I have 3, and then kind of go team by team. Now, when it comes to like the X's and O's of each individual team, I am not the person for that. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But all of my observations are based on what I have seen, either from just watching a whole game or watching highlights, and just kind of the general vibe I have. Yeah, because I will, even if I can't actually watch the game itself, I will still be able to like look at the updates on Google, on Twitter, to see like, all right, what's the score? Is this a team that seems like they start quickly but can't finish? Is this a team that's been like mounting a comeback but they came up short? Have there been a lot of penalties holding this team back throughout the game? Et cetera, et cetera. So I'm more of a, what's the narrative around the team more than how are they actually performing on a technical level? But here we are. So my general thoughts, number 1, there is so much parity in the NFL right now. Like almost every team is either 3-2 or 2-3, which is kind of crazy. You know, I expected a lot more like, all right, here's like our couple like 2 to 3 teams that are really, really good. And I guess we still kind of have it. Like the Eagles are 5-0, Bills are 4-1, Chiefs are 4-1. I think that's it. We have 2 1-win teams, no one with 0 wins, and then yeah, everyone else is either 2 wins or 3 wins. It's really, really tight right now. Which of course leads to the next general observation. There is, generally speaking, there is no need to panic. Even if your team is under 500, pretty much like almost everyone else is, or they're just barely above 500, there is still time to get better, get your shit together, and make a comeback for the rest of the season. Even the Raiders, who right now are 1-4, they do not control their own destiny right now for the division because the Chiefs are 4-1 and they've already played them once. But I don't really know if they still control their own destiny for a wild card berth. I mean, at week 5, I guess now technically we're about to start week 6. It's a little too early to start looking into that. But again, if most of the conference only has 2 or maybe 3 wins, and you're 1 to 2 games behind everybody, you don't need to panic yet. There's still time. The last observation is just officiating. It's really jank. But we've been saying that for like how many fucking years now? Like, I remember, I think it was last year, it was like, man, this officiating's the worst it's ever been. Which is what people were saying the year before. And then the year before that, it's bad. It really is. That Grady Jarrett sack on Tom Brady was a sack. That was not roughing the passer. That Chris Jones sack on Derek Carr, not roughing the passer. That's bullshit, fucking stupid. I have thought for years, penalties need to be able to be reviewed. And that was before the shit that happened in New Orleans, the Saints-Rams no call. Even before that, I was like, no, like penalties are way too impactful. Now, granted, some of them just like, all right, a false start, 5 yards. I mean, that's not always the most impactful, but it kind of sucks. But like a roughing the passer, that can be big. PI, that can be fucking huge when it's called or when it's not called. And the fact that it is a pure judgment call on the spot, and you can see replays showing that a call was wrong or egregiously missed, and there's nothing they can do about it, is fucking stupid. Case in point, a couple years ago, there was a playoff game between the Browns and the Chiefs, which is really weird saying that a couple years ago the Browns were in a playoff game. But I think it was a Browns player was trying to score a touchdown. He got tackled, and he fumbled the ball. The ball went out of bounds. Chiefs then recover. And then, they had to show the replay several times. They're like, all right, did he actually have possession? Was it a fumble? Did it actually go out of bounds, or like out of bounds through the end zone? It's like, did it actually go through the end zone? Okay, it did. Here's the multiple angles. Yes, Chiefs are going to recover. Upon seeing the replay, it's clear that this dude got hit in the head. Like, this should have been an unnecessary roughness, 15 yards, automatic first down. Fumble doesn't stand call in favor of the Browns. And you can see it on the replay clear as day that they keep showing. But because you can't challenge it, doesn't matter. Browns get fucked. It bothers me when you can make the... Sorry, now I'm remembering when they were actually like, hey, Saints fans, since you guys keep bitching because you got screwed out of a Super Bowl, fine, we'll make PI reviewable to make you happy. And it was the biggest joke of a rule I've ever seen, because there's so many clear times it would get challenged. Rightfully so. Like, hey, this is clear PI, fucking call it. Hey, this was not PI, this was bullshit. Review it. They would review it. You as the fan, or like as like a player, anyone watching would be like, oh, okay, this needs to get overturned, or this needs to get called. This is an easy call. And like 9 times out of 10, they would stick with the call on the field, even when it was clearly fucking wrong, just to be like, all right, we're going to make it a rule to make you happy, but we're too prideful to actually do anything about it. Fuck you. It was infuriating watching that shit. And then, of course, at the very end of the Saints season, there's offensive pass interference on the game-winning touchdown. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not really going to complain about that being the reason the Saints lost. They played like shit most of the game. They kind of deserve to lose. Don't get me wrong. But if this whole thing was about, we need to be able to review PI, what it's called or it's not called, because of how game-changing it is, they literally lose on an offensive pass interference touchdown, and they don't even review it. Holy fucking shit, it was bad, and I was mad. Not as mad as the shit against the Rams, but anyways, running out of time, let's actually try to talk about some teams. I'll try to make it quick. Starting in the AFC North, the Ravens generally look good. Lamar, I'm seeing, like, every time I see Lamar play, and I'm watching highlights and shit, I see this is why the Ravens need to pay him, and I'm also seeing why they haven't. Against the Bengals, there was at least 2 or 3 missed throws, and not just like, oh, I mean, that was kind of close. Like, no, this motherfucker is wide open, dude. You had a touchdown. How the hell did you miss that? How did you miss that twice, my guy? And it's like, when you keep seeing shit like that, like, I understand why the Ravens don't want to give him as much as he wants. But then when you also see just how good he is, you're like, but he does deserve a huge contract. The other big storyline for the Ravens is them going for it on 4th down and how it works or how it doesn't work. Against the Bills, they went for it. In hindsight, you should have taken the points, but I get it. Like, it was 4th and goal at like the 1 or the 2. It's a tie game. If you don't get it, they're going to have to drive all the way across the field, which they were able to do. And I mean, they started at the 25 because Lamar threw a pick. But it was one of those, and like, I don't hate this decision. I get it. It just didn't work out. It to me, it's a lot like the Giants and the Titans. Giants went for 2 at the end of the game. They're like, no, we want the lead. It did work, excuse me. And because of that, they got the win. If it didn't work, they would have been hugely criticized. We're like, oh, it's one of these new head coaches, one of these offensive gurus or whatever, who's like, analytics, let's be aggressive, let's win the game. Doesn't work, dude. You gotta be smart. You gotta take the points. But no, it fucking worked. So everyone's like, dude, he's got big balls. I love this. And I had said, like, I love that he did it regardless of the outcome, because, hey, you're showing confidence in your guys. Let's go do this. And that's what Harbaugh did. It didn't work. But, sorry, I just realized how close I got to the camera there. It was kind of weird. Anyways, I was like, it didn't work. I don't hate the decision in the moment. The Browns, week 1, Cade York hit, it was like a 58 or 59 yard winning field goal. Not quite as time expired, but really fucking close to it. I was like, damn, this guy's got a cannon for a leg. He's got an accurate leg. He's got ice in his veins. Browns have found themselves a fucking kicker. Then against the Jets, a game they lose by 1 in which he missed an extra point. Against the Falcons, I think he also missed another extra point. Had a game-winning field goal set up against the Chargers as time expired, and he missed it. Well, actually, I don't know if that one was, again, as time expired or like really close to it, but game-winning field goal. Missed it. And I was like, I'm not a Browns fan, especially after the whole Watson shit. But I was like, hey, I mean, at least they got like a good kicker. I hope the guy does well. And yeah, that week 1 kick it's looking a little more and more like a fluke every week. And kicker, I know quarterback is the most important position in football, but kickers need respect, man. There are so many games that come down to a dude's right or left foot. I think it's people usually kick with their right foot. I don't know. But like, that's so valuable to have a clutch kicker. Again, look at the fucking Ravens. Look at Justin Tucker and how many games they have won based solely on that dude. I remember there was a game, it was a Monday night game between the Ravens and the Lions a few years ago. I think the final score was like 18-17. All of the Ravens' points were field goals. I think that was actually Justin Tucker's career long in that game, was like 61. Like, it was established in that game. And funny enough, a few years later, he makes a new career long, which is the NFL record, also against the Lions. Just kind of realized that. It's really funny how that worked out. But that was, I mean, obviously the biggest Brown story, of course, is Deshaun Watson and how, like, are they going to hold down the fort without him? Well, they're kind of about where everyone else is, so yes, but they should have more wins, so no. But actually watching the games, to me, the biggest story has been the kicker kind of fucking up at times. The Bengals, who right now are the Bungles, because they're also 2-3. They were 0-2, won a couple games, lost another close one. The biggest thing with them is the O-line, which has gotten better. They've given up 4 sacks total over the last 2 games. It was 3 against the Ravens, 1 against the Dolphins, which, given that I think he was sacked like 13 times in the first 2 games, a lot better. Still not great, but better. Glad they're improving. I've noticed on offense, Jamar Chase is not getting the ball as much, and I think it's defenders know how fucking good he is, so he is getting a lot of the focus, so it kind of makes sense that they're just not able to get involved as much. I think T. Higgins was injured during the last game, so, the Bengals offense wasn't able to roll as well as they normally do, but even still, they were able to have some good drives and, get some shit going. The Steelers. The big thing with Pittsburgh right now is Kenny Pickett. They finally started their rookie quarterback, and although his stats aren't great, it seems like he's not actually that terrible. I think in his first game, he threw 3 interceptions, and it was like, oh, that one bounced off the hands of his dude. That's not his fault. Okay, that's a Hail Mary at the very end of the game. I'm not going to blame a guy for that. Like, it doesn't look great on paper, but actually from what I've seen of the games, it doesn't look that bad. Again, they're 1-4, not great, but they're 2 games out of first place, and they haven't played the first place team at all yet. They don't need to panic. It's Mike Tomlin, so overall they will probably be fine. The NFC North, you've got the Vikings, who are in first place. And in their 5 games, so they're 4-1, they've had 1 very convincing win, 1 very convincing loss, and then 3 really close games where they were behind, managed to win at the end of the game, managed to stop the other team from taking it. Yeah, I think actually in all 3, the other team had like a game-winning drive that they could have done, but the Vikings defense managed to stop them. And kudos to the Vikings. They are 4-1, and this is not college where the style points actually matter. The only thing that matters is wins and losses. They're 4-1 overall, 3-0 in the division. That's really fucking good. The Packers. Their offense just has a lot of growing pains right now. I think they'll eventually figure it out. Again, you don't need to panic yet. There is a time limit. And hopefully for them to get it figured out sooner rather than later. Their defense, I heard going into the season, they're supposed to be really, really good. So far, they look fine, but just not as good as advertised. The Bears, I can't really say anything. I know, nothing about the Bears. I've heard that Justin Fields, it just isn't good. And from what I've seen, because I don't think I've actually watched a full Bears game, and oh god, they're going to be on primetime tomorrow. Tomorrow, Bears Commanders sounds like such a shit show primetime game. I don't want to watch it, but I want to watch it to see how wild, not even wild, just how just terrible it's going to be. But I've heard he's not that good. I really can't say, but I've seen some good plays here and there. And then, so at first I thought that the Lions were a young, fun, but inexperienced team that just needed to learn how to win. After about 5 weeks, though, now I've learned that the Lions are a young, fun, but inexperienced team who hasn't yet learned that there's 3 phases to the game. There's offense, special teams, and then there's this one other thing that just seems to elude them called defense, because holy fucking shit. What the Lions really remind me of are the Saints during that period where they were just going 7-9, where you've got this elite offense, can score a ton of points every game, though there are some games where they might kind of have a stinker, like how last week the Lions got shut out. But, like, you can rely on them to keep you in games, but you can also count on that defense just letting you down week in and week out. And that even if you score like 30-plus points, you might even put up 40 one week, it's just not going to matter. So I think Dan Campbell was actually a staff member of the Saints during at least some of those years. I could be wrong about that. So he knows what that's like before. He certainly knows what it's like now. I hope for their sake they can learn how to play defense. Maybe it'll take another year or two to like really get some guys in. I hope Aiden Hutchinson, balls out. I actually really don't know what like his stat line is. I know he's gotten at least like 1 or 2, but I hope he plays really well. I hope things go well for the Lions. Moving on now to the Southern Division. So in the AFC, the Titans, they started 0-2, and everyone's like, man, this team's so disappointing. We don't believe in them. They suck. Now they're 3-2, top of the division, one of the only teams in the NFL above 500. Their games are always way too close for comfort. I've noticed like they'll start off really strong, and then they just kind of fall asleep in the second half. I've noticed a couple other teams do that. Like, we'll talk about that a bit when we get to the Raiders and the Eagles. The Titans, it has come back to bite them against the Giants. It really didn't come to bite them against the Bills. They just got their asses whipped. It just happened. But, the Colts, they were up, I don't remember what the score was, but I think they were up like 20 or so, or at least up 17. And then they only won by 7 because Indy started coming back and then just couldn't do anything in the fourth quarter. The Raiders, they were up quite a bit. And I think the Raiders were a failed 2-point conversion away from tying the game and sending it into OT. The Giants, they were winning that game, and then the Giants came back. I think there was another one. I'm blanking a bit on what their other game was, unless that's 5. I think I'm missing one. But regardless, that seems to be their MO. Play really close, play way too close, still manage to come out on top, but that's not championship football. I'm going to be honest. If you're a team that falls asleep in the second half, you're not going to win the Super Bowl. You might go to the playoffs. You might even go to the Super Bowl. It happened to the Falcons. It happened to the Panthers the year they were 15-1. They were dominating. They were killing teams. Didn't do a lot in the second half. Now, again, number 1 seed. I don't think Cam was the unanimous MVP, because I think Lamar's been the only unanimous. I could be wrong about that, but I know he was MVP, no question. But look, both teams have an empty trophy case. It's not championship football. That is something the Titans need to get together. It's something the Eagles need to get together as well. And the Raiders, they really need to get together. Next is the Colts, and it's actually kind of surprising to me that the Colts are number 2 in the division, but it's because of that stupid tie. Ties, I don't think a team should be able to tie in the NFL, and not just because we're like, oh, there's got to be a winner, there's got to be a loser thing, which I get, because that tie is better than a loss. Because if you have a team that's 10-6 and a team that's 10-5-1, even if the 10-6 team has beaten the 10-5-1 team and should win on a tiebreaker, well, 10-5-1 is technically a better record, so guess who sneaks into the playoffs? I hate it. I think it's dumb. If a game should end in a tie, I think both teams should just get a loss, because that's really what it is. But anyways, point. Somehow the Colts are 2-1, and I have this weird feeling that they are going to sneak into the playoffs because of that tie. I don't think they're that good. Oh gosh, that Denver game, man. They failed upwards against Kansas City. It's sometimes shit like that happens. Both teams, looked like... Okay, I don't want to say that, because the Denver defense looked great. That's a very good team, or at least phase of a team. Man, I guess are the Broncos just the reverse Lions? I know I'm talking about the Colts right now, but is that what they are? Just a really good defense, but no offense to show for it, which is weird because they got Russell Wilson. Anyway, the Colts. Colts don't look good, but they have a tie. It might benefit them. Moving on to Jacksonville. Jacksonville was looking really good at one point. They beat the crap out of the Colts. They beat the crap out of the Chargers. They had a 14-0 lead against the currently undefeated Eagles. And then Philly took over the rest of the game, and, Trevor Lawrence kind of went back to rookie form. And then last week, they couldn't beat the winless Texans. I mean, I don't really know what to think of Jacksonville. I'm going to be honest. Like, they looked really good for a moment, and then now they just look like the Jaguars. So I guess we'll see. Houston, they finally got that win. They're finally on the board. And again, you don't need to panic. They're 1-3-1, but they haven't played Tennessee yet. They'll play them twice. They're still in control of their own destiny. They can still win the division. Like, just by winning games. Like, they don't need any bullshit to go their way. And like the Colts, they've got that tie. So in any case, it's like, oh man, like the tiebreaker, they would lose out. Well, it's not going to come to the tiebreaker because technically your record's a little bit better. But I mean, good win for them. I really don't have much to say about like how actually good they are. But I know they've been competitive every game. I think every loss has been a one-score game. No, I take that back because I know the Chargers, I think, won by 10 because they were up 20, and then Houston almost won the game because Chargers going to Charger. But also somehow not because they're above 500. We'll talk about that. But the NFC South, you've got the Bucs. The Bucs offense looks like trash, which you could also say about basically every offense in the NFC South. Let's just take that comment and like paste it. Bucs offense does not look good. Saints offense, not good. Same with the Panthers. The Falcons maybe don't look as bad, which is really fucking weird. They might be the best team in the division. Huh? Anyways, the Bucs defense, very good, but I'm starting to wonder how much of it is an aberration. They played incredibly well against the Cowboys, which was the number one offense last year, and okay, like, very good, well-earned game. Then they played really well against the Saints, who don't have a good offense. Like, at all. I hate to say it, but it's true. And they didn't play super well against the Packers. No, excuse me, I take that back. The defense did play well against the Packers, but it's also, as I said, an offense with a lot of growing pains that just doesn't look that good. Then they got embarrassed against the Chiefs, and then they almost let the Falcons come back, but, the bullshit pass interference didn't give the Falcons the final chance. So I feel like the Bucs defense is good. I feel like the bad offenses they've played have made them look better than they are, but they are still legit, and the Bucs offense just doesn't look good. Brady doesn't look like he wants to play football anymore. I don't know what's going on with... I mean, we kind of know what's going on in his personal life. I don't really want to comment on it, but it's kind of wild, and it's also just kind of sad to watch. Speaking of sad to watch, my Saints. I think it was after the Vikings game. I read the tweet from Lance Moore, who's a part of their Super Bowl team. He had said, he's like, look, we are what our record says we are. We're 1-3. We are a team that is undisciplined. The offense starts slow, frequently gets in its own way, that relies way too heavily on the defense to keep them in the game until they get their shit together. And yes, the defense does will give up points. They do give up at least one long touchdown per game. But we can't be mad at them for that because they're on the field so long. These guys are going to get tired. The offense needs to be able to pull its weight, and until they do, we're going to get better. There is time to get better. But we are what we are right now, which is 1-3. And now after beating the Seahawks, we're 2-3. So we're right in there, but still not looking great. But it's not yet time to panic. There is hope, and quite possibly that hope is the Mormon God himself, Taysom Hill. Mormon Prince. That sounds a little bit better because calling him a god is, that should be the Mormon thing. It's a little blasphemous, but I like Mormon Prince a lot. Anything else I'm going to say about the Saints? Not really. I guess I've also noticed quite a bit of special teams miscues. There was a muff punt against Minnesota. I've seen missed field goals. I've seen blocked field goals. I don't mind at all the, double doink 61-yarder. It was a 61-yarder. I mean, if you miss that's completely fair. But I've seen Will Lutz this season miss, a 40-something yarder. And again, getting kicks blocked and shit. That needs to get cleaned up, man. The Falcons, they just got screwed in that last game. Now, we have no guarantee that if they got the ball back, they would have, gone down the field and won the game. But the fact that they were denied the opportunity because the NFL said, Brady doesn't look too good. We kind of need him to win this one. Because that's a call like that. That's how that feels. I feel bad for the Falcons. And I'm a Saints fan. That's how bad it is. At least how bad that situation was. Other than that, again, 2-3, still in the thick of it. Then we get the Panthers. So as I have said, I am a Saints fan, so I hate the Panthers. I'm a Sooner fan, so I love Baker Mayfield. I want to see the Panthers do poorly, but Baker do well. Right now, both of them are doing poorly. But I can at least say, like, the Panthers' defense looks good. Not, like, elite, but, like, no, this is a very solid unit. Offense looks terrible. Baker, a lot of that, I will admit, is, like, just looking at the stat line. But even just kind of like following the progression of games, like, man, this offense is not doing shit. Like, they are not moving the ball. They are punting constantly. And, I mean, they lost their coach. Matt Rule has been fired. I haven't really been able to watch the Panthers. So I've heard that he's not that good. I can't really judge it for myself. But, I mean, what's his record? Like, 11-27 in, like, 2.25 years. That's not very good. I've heard people say that, maybe this is because the Panthers, they want to get an early search. Maybe they're going to try to go after Sean Payton. I don't think they'll be able to get him because the Saints still have his rights, which means they would have to trade. If he was a free agent and they're like, yeah, this is the guy we want, I could see that happening. But to think that the Saints would trade within the division, like their Super Bowl winning coach, I could see the Panthers going for, like, hey, can we talk about this? But I feel like the Saints would just say, no, we're not doing it in division, that 100%. To the Cowboys, in conference but out of division, sure, I can see it, but I don't think it's going to be Carolina. I honestly, the team I think is going to hire Sean Payton by the start of next season is going to be the Chargers, unless they, like, win the Super Bowl or something. I feel like Brandon Staley is going to make a really, really bad decision that backfires. He gets fired. They go to the Saints, give him something for Peyton. He is now the coach of Justin Herbert. So how Breeze went from the Chargers to the Saints, he's going to go from the Saints to the Chargers. I think I've said that before, because I think I've said that exact phrase before, but here we are. All right, so moving on to the Eastern divisions. The AFC East, the Buffalo Bills, they look like they are the best team. They have an injured but still good defense. They have probably the MVP of the league in Josh Allen. That offense is going off. Like I said at the start of the year, I think technically like around week 2. It's like my prediction for the Bills is they're going to be the Saints after the Minnesota Miracle. This is a team that is angry about the way that they lost in the playoffs, and they're going to go on a tear. They are not going to blow out everybody because the Saints didn't blow out everybody that year. They also did not go undefeated. They lost, I think they went 13-3. Like, this is a team that is going to have a lot of huge wins. They're going to have a lot of close wins, but they are going to look like one of, if not the best teams in the league. And I think the way it's looking right now after 5 weeks, they're on a collision course with Kansas City in the AFC Championship. Now, of course, other teams can emerge. Maybe due to injuries or something, one of these two teams falls off. I know they actually play next week, and that is this upcoming week, and that is so exciting. Like, that's going to be the game of the week. I don't even know who I think is going to win that game. I remember my prediction for the playoff game was, both these teams look really, really good. Whoever punts first is going to lose. That's my prediction, and Bills punted first. I'm going to pick the Bills to win. I'm not really doing picks right now. But I think they'll probably win this game. I don't know who's going to win that playoff game, if it happens, but they look really good. Next is the Jets, who are 3-2. I remember being like, man, if there's one team that'll go without winning a game, it's the Jets. They proved my ass wrong, and good for them, man. Good for the MILF Hunter coming back. I think he technically came back last week, but they dropped 40 against the Dolphins. They look pretty good. I mean, I can't really say. I haven't really watched the Jets. I don't know a lot about them. I know Zach Wilson came back. I know that like one of their offensive tackles is out for the year. Again, that really, really sucks. I hope he gets better. I don't have a lot to really say, but it's nice to see them above 500. Like, they've been a punching tried to say punching bag and punchline. So, yeah, they've been a punching line. I sound like a moron. But they have been a punching bag and a punchline for a long time. It's nice to see them look, even if it's early, and it might not last, it's nice to see them looking pretty good. Same for the Giants. The Dolphins, everything about the Dolphins right now is just about Tua. I hope that man is okay. I sincerely, from the core of my heart, hope he is okay. He should not have been playing in that game on Thursday night. He should not have come back in the game against the Bills. That is not a hot take. That is not my opinion. I think at this point that is objective fact. I don't know when he is coming back. I don't know if he is coming back. But I hope he is okay. The Dolphins last week, I think Teddy got knocked out with the first play of the game, so they were playing a third-string quarterback. They were still in the game for most of it. I think in the last couple possessions, the Jets just kind of, took over. I really don't know how good this team is without Tua. With him, they were 3-0. I don't want him rushed back so the team can stay competitive. I just hope he's able to recover. I hope he is okay. If he feels comfortable coming back and he is medically cleared, then I hope he does. But yeah, his health has got to come first, man. Just 100%. After that, the Patriots. And it's weird seeing the Patriots at the bottom of the division. It feels like I'm in some kind of fever dream. But here we are. Like, what are they? I actually don't know what their record is. I think... No, they are 2-3 because they shut out Detroit. I was about to say, I think they're 1-4, but no, they won last week. They don't look awful, but they don't really look that good. They look like a mediocre team that can maybe get better, but hey, I'll say this. Their third-string rookie, Bailey Zappi, he carved up Detroit, which, granted, I think a toddler could probably do that. But he also was going toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers a week ago, so... I know Mac Jones is their guy, but maybe Bailey's I don't know if I could say this guy's better, but it looks like at the very least they have a reliable backup. Good for them. Maybe that's something they can build on. I don't know. The NFC East, record-wise, the best division in football. I was not expecting that. I don't think anyone was expecting that. Philly is 5-0. They look great right now. No, I said a little bit ago. They are one of the teams that seems to struggle in the second half. They don't score a whole lot or at all, depending on the game. They haven't really needed to. It's like their offense in the second half will do just enough, a long enough drive to get a field goal if it's needed, or to kind of keep the defense rested. And then the defense is all right, it's the second half, it's our time to shine, and then they kick ass. And then the first half, the defense will still show up, and that's when the offense is all right, let's go. It's the second quarter. It's like the shit in Dragon Ball where they just do all the blasts. That's the Eagles in the second quarter, because that's the quarter when they wake up and start scoring. It's kind of wild, but 5-0, good shit. Good for Philly. Good for Jalen Hurts, man. Dallas, another big surprise. They lost Dak, and I was man, this seems fucked. They'll win some games. They lost their quarterback. I know their defense is good. They'll keep them in some games, but no Dak, no problem. Cooper Rush is 5-0 as a starting quarterback. I saw a post the other day. It's hey, Cooper Rush has a better winning percentage than every quarterback in the Hall of Fame. That is 100% true. That's so funny. And dude, Micah Parsons is a fucking monster, dude. Trevon Diggs, I haven't seen a lot of his plays this year because I know his reputation is he'll give up a lot of yards, but he can also get a lot of interceptions. So he's really good, but also really flawed. But from what I understand, he's actually been playing pretty well. But I guess when you've got Micah Parsons eating people alive, you don't really need too much to secondary. But good for the Cowboys. Good for them boys. The Giants. Speaking of punching lines, punch lines and punching bags. The New York Football Giants are 4-1 and don't look bad. I thought all right, they're going to London. They're going to play the Packers. They're probably going to get the crap kicked out of them. Look, they're down 10 early. this game is going to get out of control quickly, and it did not. They stayed in the game. They won. Aaron Rodgers is about to get a Hail Mary off to try to win the game. The defense just said, nope, shutting that shit down right now. Go back to Wisconsin, you fucking loser. Like, not that aggressive, but, like, dude, the Giants don't look bad. Right now, Brian Dable is my coach of the year. And I was not expecting this team to have this good of a record, to look this competitive. He's got these guys looking good. Now, Danny Dimes is still Danny Dimes. I have still seen him throw a lot of interceptions. I've still seen him, like, fumble a lot, not throw a lot of touchdowns. But he's not actively losing them games. And, man, that's certainly an improvement. And, I mean, you can look at the record. It is certainly an improvement. After that is the Commies. They had that, I think they won the first game, because I think that was the one against Jacksonville, where, like, they kind of had that shootout in the fourth quarter. I was like, oh, okay. They're kind of a fourth quarter team. They've got some resilience. And then I don't remember who beat them the next week, but it was like, oh, okay. I think it was the Lions game. It was like they were down early, like 22-0. Still lost, but they came back. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, this is a resilient team. And they played the Eagles, and I was like, okay, no, you guys just kind of got your asses kicked. But all your points came in the fourth quarter, so resilient team? But yeah, they're 1-4. They don't look good. Like I've been talking, like, you don't have to panic. You could still be in control of your own destiny. They are not in control of their own destiny with this division. When you're 1-4 and everyone else is 5-0, 4-1, 4-1, you are behind. You are in the cellar. And, I mean, they can get out of... Okay, I don't think they're getting out of the division. Maybe a wild card, because again, most people are only 3-2, we're 2-3. They're playing the Bears. That might be a nice rebound game, but this team looks not good. They seem kind of broken. I know Ron Rivera was asked, like, what's the problem with this team? Why aren't you as good? And he said the quarterback. Now, granted, that is heavily taken out of context. What he really meant was every other team in the division has really built around their quarterback. This is a guy, this is his first year with the team. We haven't really had a chance to develop our, like, rapport with him, to really develop an offense around him. So just saying, why is your team bad? The quarterback. It's a lot more nuanced than that, but it might not be untrue to say it's the quarterback. I hate to say that. It's like, I want to see Carson Wentz do well, but boy, outside of that one season in Philly, man, he hasn't looked that great. And then moving on to the AFC, or excuse me, like to the Western Division, starting with the AFC West. Chiefs also look like one of the best teams. Their last game was weird. Like, there was that bullshit roughing the passer, and then they kind of got penalties that almost make up for it. But Mahomes is a beast. I have written in my notes just Tyreek who, because they do not look like they've missed Tyreek Hill. Now, he's really good and is a benefit to their offense when he was there, but it's like, oh, we don't have Tyreek Hill. Okay, we've got like 5 other dudes, plus still Travis Kelce. Like, no, we're fine. And yeah, so far they look fine. That Bills game this week is going to be huge. I still think this is, this is probably how the AFC ends. It's, so I made it sound like this is in the series finale of the AFC, the last ever season. But it's like, I think this is how the AFC Championship is going to go. Whoever wins this game is hosting the other. And I am really excited. Next you have the Chargers. The word I have written is dicey, because that's how they feel. Who did they play week 1? I don't remember who they played week 1. I just remember, like, they won the game. Then the close loss to the Chiefs. Then they got their asses whipped by Jacksonville. And it's like, okay, now we're 2-3. Herbert's, he's a little injured. He's maybe recovering, hopefully. Then they played Houston. It was like, all right, this is your get-right game. And they were up 20. And then Houston had the ball with a chance. It was either to take the lead or just a chance to tie. But they went from dominating the game and being on cruise control to, holy shit, how are we about to lose this? Somehow they didn't. Last week, playing Cleveland, they're up 2 points. I think it's like 4th and 2, 4th and 3 at about midfield. And they go for it. I get it. Like, if we get this first down, We win the game. We don't give them a chance. It's over. Like, there's less, I think it was like less than a minute. Cleveland has no timeouts. But if you don't get it, they get the ball. And, like, you remember week 1 when their kicker booted a 58-yarder? He can, like, they get like a first down. They're in field goal range. Are you sure about this? And they go for it. They don't get it. And Cleveland, they missed it. They missed the game winner, but Brandon Staley set the Browns up for victory, not the Chargers. And it's weird to look at that kind of situation and think, wait, the Chargers got out of that? That's weird. They're like a cursed team. They usually get fucked by shit like this. So good on them, but it's dicey. And like, he cost them a playoff spot last year. Let's be honest, that is 100% true. If he does it again or he blows a playoff game, I think they're going all in on Sean Payton 100%. The Broncos, I literally have in my notes just laughs because, like, what the fuck, man? Like, I said it earlier, they're the reverse Lions. Terrible, broken offense that can't do shit, but a really good defense that is going to keep you in every game. I feel bad for that defense for losing that Thursday night game. I really do. I know people are like, this team looks awful, they're boring. Yes, they're boring, but they're not awful. The offense is awful. The defense is very good, and it is important to understand that. Also, Nathaniel Hackett is pretty awful. I don't know what the hell happened to Russell Wilson. He's playing like someone who's never gotten an MVP vote. So the Lions don't seem to know that you have to play defense. The Broncos don't seem to know you have to play offense. The Raiders don't seem to know you have to play two halves. Because as much as I was saying, the Titans let teams come back, the Eagles don't do a lot on offense in the second half, they're at least still winning the games. The Raiders are 1-4. 20-0 against the Cardinals. Blew it. 17-0 against the Chiefs. Blew it. And then it's gone both ways too, because they didn't really do much in the first half against the Titans, got their shit together in the second half, but then it didn't matter. Their other two games were pretty close division games. They lost by 5 to the Chargers. That was the Chargers week 1 win. It was against the Raiders. So again, also dicey. It was a 5-point game. And then their game against the Broncos, which I don't remember what the score was. I think it was close enough that the Broncos had a chance, but the Raiders were kind of in control for most of it. But with every passing week, it makes me question more and more why they fired Rich Bisaccia and hired Josh McDaniels. And it's early. There's still time. The division seems like it's out of reach because 1-4 against 4-1, and you've already blown one of your 2 games against them. Wild card is not out of the picture. I still think the Raiders are a really talented team. But Nathaniel Hackett is blowing shit in Denver, and it looks like McDaniels right now is blowing shit in, I almost said Oakland, in Vegas. I don't understand going for 2 at the end of that game. If you get the kick, you're tied. Take the fucking tie, man. Go ahead, give yourself overtime. It's oh, look, we screwed it up, and now instead of going to overtime, we're going to lose. I'm now kind of thinking about it, and how I was saying, with the Giants, it didn't bother me. Why does it bother me with the Raiders? I think it comes down to 2 things. 1, the Giants are supposed to be a rebuilding team. We're not very good. We know we're not very good. But I have confidence in my guys that we're going to do this. And you know what? It's only week 1. If there's a time to be ballsy, it's week 1 where it doesn't seem like we're in any kind of dire straits. With the Raiders, not supposed to be a rebuilding team. You're in the playoffs last year, and theoretically you got better during the offseason. You are supposed to be contending. Why are you so bad? Why do you keep losing? You guys are 1-3. Now technically 1-4, but it's during the game, you are 1-3. Take the points to stay alive, because you can't afford to do stupid shit and have it backfire. And, oh, what do you know? They did stupid shit and it backfired. They fucked around, and then they found out. But admittedly, Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow running into each other on 4th and 1 to lose the game was pretty funny. But, man, there's some shit going on over there. But then, lastly, we got the NFC West. The 49ers look like the only good team in the division because the defense is really good and the offense can do enough. Well, I mean, I feel like the offense is either they can do enough or they look solid. Like, they look like crap against the Broncos, but the Broncos have a very good defense. Panthers have a pretty good defense, but Jimmy G was cooking, man. He looked really good. They did not look great against the Bears, but that was a shitty weather game in Soldier Field where I think Soldier Field won the game and the Bears just kind of got the benefit from it. I think they're still a good team. The Rams don't. The Rams don't look good. Like, I think the defense is probably fine, but the offense looks broken. The offensive line is not good. Stafford does not look good. I know old man Andrew retired after the Super Bowl. Right now it looks like he really anchored that offense together because without him, they're floundering. I said my bold prediction was that the Rams would miss the playoffs. I'm still standing by that. Cardinals, I literally have no notes written for the Cardinals. It's just cards, period, blank, because I don't really know what to say. They're competitive. I don't think there's been a game where they've looked... because they looked terrible against the Chiefs, but I think, they did enough in the second half to make the score look kind of... No, I think they still lost by like 20. Yeah, like that game they looked like complete dog shit. But aside from that, it's competitive, but I just don't know what to say. And then you have the Seahawks. They wrote me off. I didn't write back. God bless Geno Smith. For a second, I thought I got his name wrong, but it's like, Geno is balling right now. Like, he looks like Russell Wilson. Looks like, I've seen memes that how, like, these two must have switched places because Geno Smith looks like Russ, and right now Russ is playing, like, old Geno, but I'm so glad that he's balling. Like, the Giants, maybe a bit of the Jets, like, these right now are the feel-good stories of the NFL, and I'm just happy to see it. Now, the Seahawks don't have a very good defense. They let my Saints score 39. Well, I don't remember what the Lions scored on the week before. It was like 40-something. If that defense was halfway decent, I think they would actually be a competitive team. Right now, they are a fun team. They're a feel-good team. I don't think they're going to have like a great season. But they're fun to watch, and they're really fun to root for. So... yeah, I that's really all I've got. So that should be every team. Those are kind of my thoughts on the season. And boy, this actually ran really long. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you when I see you. But now I get to go play Kuro again, so bye!